Look, this story is insane. Scientists, real ones, say they brought back the direwolves. Not a drawing, not a simulation, a living, breathing animal. The last time anyone saw one of those things alive? Over 10,000 years ago. They ruled the Ice Age, and now, thanks to a company in Texas, they might be walking the earth again. But here's the weird part, this isn't some Jurassic Park fantasy. This happened, and the science behind it. It's real, it's risky, and it might have crossed a line we can't uncross. When people hear direwolf, they usually picture something out of Game of Thrones. A giant, glowing eyes, big enough to ride, strong enough to tear a man apart. But the real thing, it was still terrifying, just not fantasy terrifying, guys. The direwolf was bigger, stockier, and more muscular than modern wolves. Think prehistoric, pit bull, but with pack tactics. It hunted massive animals like Ice Age bison, giant sloths, even baby mammoths. And it did this across both North and South America. But when the Ice Age ended, the food disappeared, and so did the direwolves. At least that's what we thought. Flash forward to now. A biotech company out of Texas called Colossal Biosciences has one goal: bring extinct animals back to life. Yes, seriously. They already working on woolly mammoth, the Tasmanian tiger, and the dodo bird. And now they turned their attention to the direwolf. Ben Lamb is the CEO of this Colossal Bioscience company, but they're not just doing this to flex. They say it's for conservation. Their argument, by bringing attention to extinct animals, they can help save endangered ones, like the American red wolf, which has fewer than 20 individuals left in the wild. So, how do you bring back something that's been dead for 10,000 years? Short answer, you don't. Not really. You see, cloning a direwolf is impossible. Its DNA is too old, too broken, so instead, scientists did this. They found fragments of direwolf DNA in fossils, a tooth, and something called a pectoris bone. That's the dentist part of the skull, great for preserving genetic material. And then they took those fragments and compared them to the DNA of a modern gray wolf. Using a tool called CRISPR, they started editing one gene at a time, changing the gray wolf's DNA to resemble a direwolf's. Not everything could be copied. There were millions of differences, but they focused on the important stuff: jaw size, fur thickness, bone density. And when they were done, they had something new, something alive. Now, here's where it gets creepy. Once the scientists had the edited DNA, they used somatic cell nuclear transfer, same method they used to clone Dolly the sheep. They put the DNA into donor eggs and implemented those eggs into domestic dogs. Then they waited, and soon three pups were born: Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. Yeah, like from mythology and Game of Thrones. Because apparently science has a sense of humor, but these pups, they were different. Bigger than any normal dog, heavier than modern wolves. Their bones were thicker, their eyes were intense, and when they howled, people described it as unnatural. You're not looking at wolves anymore, okay? You're looking at something that was never supposed to come back. So here's the deal. Colossal says these things aren't going to zoos. They're not getting put behind glass or shown off like science projects. Instead, they were released into this massive 2,000-acre preserve. No fences, no tourists, just poor wilderness, designed to feel like the freaking Ice Age. Which sounds awesome, but also a little insane. Because now you got these genetically engineered predators roaming freely in a man made prehistoric park. So, yeah, the big question here isn't can we bring something back? It's should we? Because if this is what conservation looks like now, guys, we are in a whole new game, okay? So let's say this actually works. Let's say we really did bring the direwolf back. Cool, right? But now what? What's next? A predator we built from scratch? A mammoth that's engineered to handle climate change? A full on theme park filled with lab grown ice age animals? And if extinction no longer means the end, then what even matters anymore, right? Because here's the truth: once we start messing with evolution, we're not following the rules anymore. We are writing our own. And we're not just changing animals, we are changing the whole game. Romulus, Remus, Khaleesi, they're not science projects anymore. They're living proof that the past can be rebuilt. And if this is only the beginning, then yeah, the future is gonna be weird and real weird. So, did we bring back the direwolf? Kind of, sort of, maybe. But here's the thing, we definitely brought something back. Something that walks, that breathes, that howls like it remembers a world that no longer exists. And now it's here, for real. So now I gotta ask, did we just cross a line? Or is this just the beginning of a future where nothing ever really stays dead? Seriously, think about that for a second. What if this is just step one? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And yeah, I want to know if you be cool living near one of these things because I'm not sure I would. If you're into stories where science starts to feel like science fiction and the truth gets a little too strange to explain, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It helps way more than you think. This is Mythical Beast, where legends don't stay dead and reality is always haunted. Stay curious, stay weird, stay haunted.